Many of these survivors are returning to Auschwitz for the first time since it was liberated 75 years ago.
I never thought to come to walk on this earth. I never thought I will ever walk here. But now I decided it's time to show the world that thank God we are still alive. I won.
Kids, most of us, they're beaten non-stop. Beaten, mach schnell, go faster, faster, faster. Next to me stood a regular German army, an older man. And for the first time I saw some humanity. He put his hand in his pocket and picked out a sugar cube and gave it to me. That was the only humanity I saw the whole time.
Every Holocaust survivor here today is a rare exception from the deadly rule of the death camp.
Just because I was here.
That's why you were
that's why I'm here today, because I didn't do it.
Josef Mengele, everybody who was here loved him by face.
SS-Hauptsturmführer Josef Mengele was the man deciding over life and death. Back then, Peter and his twin brother were just 11 years old. They still don't know what experiments were carried out on them.
When I was here Mengele had offices, I think, in the second or third building, and we had to come from Birkenau to Auschwitz sometimes for the experiments. And I think it was the second building. I don't remember exactly, but I was here twice from Birkenau.
The red brick buildings of Auschwitz I, the main camp, were largely reserved for Nazi officials. Most prisoners were kept separate on the grounds of the Birkenau extermination camp. Today, the buildings preserve harrowing exhibits of the large-scale, meticulously planned extermination of human lives. Some 1.1 million people, most of them Jews, died at Auschwitz alone. After arriving with their luggage, most prisoners, men, women, and children, were sent straight to their deaths.
I was in the crematorium,
The gas chamber.
in the gas chamber, and there were the crowns from up there. I tried to open one of the crowns to see if the water comes out. However, no water came out. And then we saw that this is the end. People were crying, writing the last command. And then in the morning, they shouted us, out, out, out. We did not know what had happened. But in that time, a group of small children came. And for the German, they had a certain quota. They can kill just so many at one time. Germans were very meticulous. And they killed first those children. They were big cries. I hear those cries to this day.
The pictures here document what are childhood memories for Peter Somogyi and many other survivors. Peter recognizes his barrack on an aerial photograph. He shows his grandson where he was held. Alex Spilberg struggles to explain to his daughter why he was the only one in his family not to be sent straight to the gas chamber.
But you didn't know where you were going. Why did you think that something bad would happen to the other ones?
Well, we didn't know. Actually, we didn't know what happened to them for quite a number of days. And how we found out, some of these, the Thunder Commando were telling us, we thought they were somewhere on the other side in a camp, just like us. And then they were telling us, they're in the crematorium. You see the chimneys? That's where they all went.
And did you believe them? Did you know?
Well, I was skeptical at first. I was very skeptical. But it didn't take very long. We found out what happened. And after that, was watching all the trains coming in over time, because the end of the barracks were by where the tracks were. You were seeing all these people coming in, and some, then some hours later, the chimneys were black with smoke and light, and the smell was terrible. So we knew that what was going on. It didn't take us very long. We found out.
That day, at just 13 years old, he lost his mother and his 4 younger brothers. To escape instant death, you needed to be considered useful by the Nazis. But that didn't mean they would consider you a human being. Human dignity was non-existent behind the electric fence of the camp.
The very first time when we arrived, I escaped the gas chamber because Mengele pulled me out of the line. My whole family went into the gas chamber. My mother, sister, all the cousins, all the aunts, they all went to the gas chamber the same day. I was in the same line. At the last minute, Mengele pulled me out of the line, looking for twins, and that's where the first time I survived the gas chamber. About October or November, there was a second German officer who decided that that's enough for the twins, we don't need them, and we were lined up for the gas chamber again. But however, Mengele by chance got wind of it and says, I will decide when these children will die, not another officer. So that's the second time I escaped the gas chamber.
Knowing what was coming meant knowing something that was impossible to comprehend.
The grown-ups knew that they're going to be liquidated and they're going to uprise. But they felt it wasn't fair to the children to uprise. Mm-hmm. So they marched to their yard. They were singing on their way to the crematorium.
It was the Russians who arrived here first on January 27, 1945.
Around 6 o'clock or 5, about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, I looked around and suddenly I saw the first Russian soldier running by the side of the building. We are inside buildings like this, and I was in the window over there and saw one of the Russian soldiers and that's finally, probably we are free. And we didn't wait. 2 days, 2 nights later, afraid of a counterattack by the Germans, we asked the man who was in charge of us, take us away from here. And January 27, liberation, January 29 in the evening, we started walking towards Krakow. And we walked 2 days and 2 nights in the bitter cold, but we walked over to. And first of all, the other reason was there was no food. There was no kitchen working. We were starving more than anything else ever at the time over there.
The Nazis spent their final days in charge trying to destroy the evidence of genocide. Only the ruins of the gas chamber and ovens at Auschwitz-Birkenau remained, candles mark the last steps relatives took to their deaths.
This is history, and people intend to forget as time goes on. They become disenchanted and they don't care much because it didn't happen to them. And even now, there's just a lot of propaganda. They're telling people on the internet and all that the Holocaust never happened. But it happened. It's here. We're still witnesses. How can they go and say such a thing that it never happened?
If they're anti-Semitism, there is something behind. Don't pretend. Speak up. Be a mensch.
שהומתו, שנהרגו, שנשחטו, ושנשרפו, ושנטבעו, ושנחנקו על קידוש השם. על ידי הצרורים הגרמנים ימח שמם וזכרם. בעבור שאנו מתפללים לעילוי נשמותיהם, וגן עדן תהא מנוחתם. לכן הבעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים. בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם. אדוני הוא נחלתם. וינוחו בשלום על משכבותיהם, ונאמר אמן.